Welcome back to The Line. Our final topic this week is a vote in the Albuquerque City Council to approve a measure that would put some limits on how local law enforcement interacts with federal immigration officers. It's known as, quote, immigrant-friendly, end quote, status. And the Trump administration has threatened to pull funding from cities that don't cooperate with ICE agents, Mark, as you know. And 3 Republicans voted against the measure. I'm curious about your take on this. There's 2 sides to look at this, certainly, like anything else. Was the council correct in doing this?
Well, I would have voted against it.
Okay.
And, I think there are a number of different tangents to this debate. So, first of all, the immigration system itself, which is broken. Huge problem. My son married his high school sweetheart, or college sweetheart last year, and she lived in the Middle East for a while. She's originally from Europe. The paperwork, the bureaucracy, the miscommunication of information is intolerable. That's a part of the problem. Bias, stereotypes, and bigotry, another part of the problem. I mean, you listen to talk radio and some of the things people say, about immigrants. It's a huge problem. But the resolution itself, I don't know how many of the councilors read the resolution. One of the things that shocks me is how many lawmakers vote on things they haven't read. So, 8-page resolution, 6-page of whereases, okay? Right. And the whereases are, fine.
Whereas, that's right.
Immigrants make a contribution, America's a nation of immigrants, that kind of thing. But, the resolution said all persons living within the city shall have full access to city services. Really? Okay, so the city of Albuquerque provides housing assistance, okay? Right now, if you're an illegal alien, and that's the terminology that Immigration and Naturalization Services use, you have access to medical services. If you have children, you have access to other services. So that person now has access to all city services. Some of the language about criminalizing immigrants, opposing expansion of Border Patrol agents, which I think most New Mexicans are probably in favor of. So there were things in the resolution that weren't discussed, weren't debated, and I think were very, very important. The bottom...
Let me come back to you. Let me swing back to you on this one. I got to get these other guys in just on a little bit tight time, but I want you to get your final point in. Vic, let me read you a little bit from the previously mentioned ordinance by Mr. Boitano, the resolution rather, quote, a safe place for immigrants from all countries as well as for war refugees, people of color, Muslims, Jews, LGBTQ people, and people with disabilities. So, we've got a pretty big bucket there and kind of mash it up with where the senator was just taking us. Is there anything wrong here with supplying people a safe haven if they're obeying the law and they're doing what they're contributing? What's the problem here? Why should ICE?
And I don't think the resolution says anything about ICE not being able to do their job.
Right.
What it's saying is that our police are already overstretched and overworked, and why should we be helping the federal government, who already has this huge operation that we're seeing all over New Mexico at all times?
That's right.
Why are we going to take our precious few resources? Right. And, for me, I think about, what if you are the undocumented citizen who is in a domestic violence situation?
Right.
Now you're scared to get away. You can't go to the courts because ICE might be there.
That's right.
I mean, these are people. This is human beings. And I think that there is absolutely a way. I don't see it as an immigrant-friendly resolution. I see it as a compassionate resolution that looks at and says, look, we want to protect our citizens. We're not stopping ICE from doing their job.
Right.
But again, with 11 million immigrants in this country, we really do want ICE to focus on the bad guys.
Right.
And what we're seeing is rhetoric around DACA right now. And for most Americans, we're like, what are you talking about? Mark is so right. This immigration system is so messed up.
That's right.
And people think we're throwing children who've been born. I mean, it's just, I think that for me, it makes sense. And for the federal government to threaten to take away resources from cities that are saying we want everybody to be safe in our city is abhorrent. And I was thrilled to see a young attorney in the audience stand up and say, "Go right ahead." There's a lot of attorneys that'll take that on
That was an
for
interesting
free.
moment. Exactly. You know, Serge, when you think about what's another big part of this resolution is the idea to serve someone on city property with a warrant versus not a warrant. That, from your legal point of view, what changes the game there? Are folks safer because of that? Or because we're hearing things, my Facebook feed is filled with all kinds of ICE warnings about ICE being over here and over there. Now it turns out, Vicki mentioned courthouses. How does this change things to have to have a warrant on city property?
Oh, I mean, I don't know that it changes things functionally. From what I understand, when ICE does do this sort of stuff, they're looking for a particular person, you know, and they often will have a warrant for that particular person and
Gotcha.
come after them, right?
Right.
So in terms of the functional change, it's possibly minimal.
Right.
For me, it's largely a symbolic stance, saying, look, the city of Albuquerque, we're not going to get involved in that. We don't have immigration laws here in Albuquerque, so we're going to try to make this as clear as possible that we want our citizens, of Albuquerque, right, the people who live here, to feel comfortable accessing the services we have, to participate in the community that we have here. And you know, if ICE wants to enforce their rules, go for it, but we're not going to
That's right.
get dragged into that.
That's right. This goes back, of course, Mayor Berry wrestled with this. I mean, it just goes back. And we all remember the infamous little side room where ICE had a little side room where they could interview people who had been, you know, arrested to see if they had been, check what their status was.
Right.
We've gotten away from that. And so I want you to pick up on where Mark Boitano was a little bit ago. Is there something here that we're missing, or that Mayor Keller's missing, or that the council's missing, that could serve to make this vote not so great in your eyes?
I think it's more expansive than what most of us many people feel comfortable with. I think the concept that they're trying to do is do good and protect people.
Right.
But if you you say you cannot come onto city property or governmental property,
Right.
then you've turned everything into a sanctuary.
I see.
You know, I mean,
Awful lot of city property
awful
around
lot
here.
of city
That's right.
property. I mean, what about a city park?
Right.
Does it mean, or a museum?
Right.
You go into, what happens then? So we may not be keeping ISIS from doing their job, but we're certainly hindering them from doing their job. And I think perhaps it's what we call unintended consequences.
Right.
But those will get you every time.
That's right. I know you meant to say ICE, by the way, there instead of ISIS, but that's
Yes,
okay.
I'm sorry.
All right, that's all right.
Well, them
Bunch of
too.
ICE officers just went, wait. Yeah, no worries
Sorry.
about that. That's all the time we have for this week, unfortunately. But
Thank you.
remember, if you have any comments about this topic or any others, you can connect with us at NewMexicoInFocus.org or on Facebook or Twitter.